No one. A transcontinental nation. France is located towards the western edge of the Eurasian continent. On a map, its territory appears distinctly hexagonal, bordered by Belgium, Luxembourg, Germany, Switzerland, Italy, Monaco, Spain, and Andorra. The mainland area of France spans approximately 551,000 square kilometers, making it the largest country in the European Union, excluding Russia. However, due to its history of territorial expansion and overseas possessions, France also boasts numerous overseas territories scattered across the globe. These include various islands in the Atlantic and Indian Oceans, French Guiana on the South American continent, several regions in Africa, and even a claimed territory in Antarctica. This brings France's total area to 643,800 square kilometers. Notably, because its territories are spread across multiple continents and oceans, France currently holds the distinction of being the country with the most time zones in the world, totaling 12. Theoretically, France could celebrate New Year's Eve 12 times in the same day. Geographically, France truly has it all. From sandy beaches to snow-capped mountains and ancient architectural wonders, the country can fulfill every sightseeing and vacation need. With a coastline stretching over 1,200 kilometers, France consistently ranks as a top choice for tourists during the summer. As of 2024, France has a population exceeding 68 million, making it the second most populous country in the EU. The average life expectancy in France is 82.5 years, significantly higher than the global average and most other developed nations like the United States. Remarkably, 40% of the country's population consists of immigrants, highlighting modern France as a diverse, multi-ethnic nation undergoing continuous demographic transformation. French is not only the official language of France, but is also recognized as an official language in 29 countries worldwide. This widespread influence is largely a legacy of the colonial era, when the French Empire extended across Africa, the Americas, and Asia. A fascinating historical fact is that from the 11th to the 14th century, French even served as the official language of England during the period of Norman rule. Although English later reclaimed its dominant position, the impact of French remains deeply embedded in its vocabulary and grammar. Number 2. The rules of the French kiss. In France, when reuniting with friends or family, instead of a handshake or a light hug, they'll often exchange a kiss on the cheek. This is baiser, the characteristic French greeting. Typically, cheeks touch while lips simply make a kissing sound. But here's the fun part. Each region in France has its own rule for the number of kisses. Some areas kiss twice, others 3 times, and some even 4. Even the French sometimes have to ask beforehand to avoid awkwardness. With close friends, family, or people they know well, baiser is an everyday occurrence. In professional settings or with strangers, they will opt for a handshake to show respect. If a French person initiates a baiser with you, it's a sign they want to open up and connect more deeply. Another interesting aspect of French communication culture is the exclamation, "Ooh la la," which many believe is only heard in movies or commercials. In reality, the French use it quite often in daily conversation. However, it's amusing that the French themselves frequently deny using it, perhaps feeling it's been exaggerated or has become cliché. In everyday interactions, you'll more commonly hear the shorter version, "Ooh la," used to express surprise, admiration, or sometimes even a mild annoyance. But when emotions reach their peak, such as during a dramatic moment in a football match, it's not uncommon to hear sports commentators or fans erupt with an excited string of "Ooh la 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 la." Number 3. The beauty of French women. Men obsess, women imitate. France is renowned for having some of the most beautiful women in the world. You've undoubtedly heard names like Brigitte Bardot with her piercing eyes, captivating lips, and stunning physique, or Sophie Marceau, often seen as the epitome of French cinematic beauty, or Eva Green, one of the leading ladies in the famous James Bond film series, and many other remarkable roses. They all represent the celebrated beauty of French women that the world admires. Simplicity, elegance, sophistication, and naturalness are the 4 adjectives that best describe the allure of French women. With an impeccable sense of style, French ladies always know how to stand out in a crowd. It's no surprise that the image of the French woman continually inspires millions of girls worldwide and captivates countless men. Beyond their beauty, French women are also symbols of intellect and strength of character. They make a significant mark in many fields: science, technology, arts, and politics. Currently, over 30% of startups in France are founded or led by women. The fashion industry proudly bears the imprint of Coco Chanel, a woman who built an empire now valued at over $15 billion. In the political arena, nearly 39% of National Assembly members and half of the French cabinet are women, placing France among the countries with the highest rates of gender equality in Europe. In love, French women are celebrated for their independence and refined romance. In relationships, they prioritize sincerity. They love intensely, aren't afraid to express their emotions, including jealousy, but simultaneously are incredibly discerning and firmly refuse to tolerate any deceit. One of the things that surprises many when dating French women is their strong financial independence. Even on a first date, while a man might offer to pay the entire bill, she will often suggest splitting it as a way to demonstrate equality and mutual respect. They are never too predictable, always retaining a hint of mystery, which makes their partners curious and eager to discover more. It is this confidence, independence, and modern spirit that helps French women consistently rank among the most admired women, not just in Europe, but globally. Would you like to know some tips for getting to know a French woman? If so, comment with one and we'll reveal them right away. Number 4. France's naked town. Naturism in France isn't some quirky recent trend. It actually began appearing in France as early as the 1700s and has endured centuries of advocacy to be recognized as a legitimate lifestyle. In this freedom-loving nation, nudity doesn't equate to indecency. In fact, French law doesn't prohibit women from going topless on beaches. However, you would certainly be advised against it if you choose the wrong playground. For instance, amidst a family beach in Nice where children and the elderly are strolling on the sand. Despite these nuances, the French government officially licenses numerous locations where naturism can be practiced legally and in an organized manner. Among these, the most famous is the town of Cap d'Agde, often referred to by the more intriguing name, the naturist town of Cap d'Agde. In Cap d'Agde, you can go to the bank, get a haircut, buy bread, or even try on glasses without wearing anything at all. That's right, there are naturist supermarkets, naturist hair salons, naturist opticians, and it's all completely normal. With over 400,000 visitors each summer, Cap d'Agde isn't the only naturist beach in the world, but it is the only place where the entire town practices naturism legally and in an organized fashion. However, Cap d'Agde is not a place where you can do whatever you want. Even while enjoying absolute bodily freedom, clear boundaries must be respected. Public sexual acts are strictly prohibited, and if violated, you could face fines of up to $22,000, along with a less-than-romantic trip to the police station. Number 5. The Eiffel Tower, once Paris's disgrace. Today, the Eiffel Tower is an irreplaceable symbol of Paris. Anyone visiting the French capital who hasn't checked in at its base might as well not have visited at all. But did you know that when it first appeared, this structure was actually detested by Parisians? In 1887, to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the French Revolution, the government wanted to build something truly unique. They decided to hold a competition for designing iconic architectural structures. Among over 100 ideas submitted, the design for a 300-meter-tall steel tower by engineer Gustave Eiffel was chosen. Once built, it would become the tallest tower of its time. But instead of pride, Parisians reacted with anger. The people of Paris were far from excited about the idea of planting a colossal iron structure in their elegant capital. They were accustomed to classical beauty, from Notre Dame Cathedral to the Arc de Triomphe. In their eyes, the Eiffel Tower was nothing more than a disfigured antenna tower rising in the city. It was given various sarcastic nicknames: factory smokestack, enlarged lamppost, and even a messy pile of scrap metal. Over 300 prominent figures, from writers and architects to artists, signed a manifesto protesting the tower's construction. But despite being heavily criticized, the Eiffel Tower was completed in 1889. Initially, it was only permitted to exist for 20 years before being dismantled. Fortunately, its pivotal role in World War I, repeatedly sending crucial signals that saved the French army, proved the tower's strategic value. Gradually, the French attitude shifted from hatred to pride and appreciation. Annually, the Eiffel Tower attracts over 7 million visitors. It can arguably be called one of the most photographed structures on the planet. Perhaps its very creator never imagined that what was once likened to an upside-down birdcage would become the steel heart of Paris. Number 6. The Statue of Liberty. Made in France. When people think of the Statue of Liberty, they usually picture New York, USA. But did you know this magnificent icon was actually conceived and born in France? The Statue of Liberty was designed by Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi and Gustave Eiffel. Its assembly and completion took place entirely in Paris. Once finished, it was officially presented to the United States representative in France on the 4th of July, 1884, precisely on American Independence Day. Meanwhile, Americans began constructing the pedestal on Liberty Island, New York. A year later, the statue was disassembled, crated, loaded onto a French naval ship, and sailed across the Atlantic. The journey lasted over a week and nearly met disaster in a storm. Fortunately, the statue arrived safely in 1885. Another fascinating misconception concerns the croissant, that quintessential French pastry. Surprisingly, it didn't originate in France, but in Austria. The earliest version of the croissant was known as a Kipferl, a crescent-shaped roll that appeared in Vienna, Austria, as early as the 13th century. The Kipferl's fame is tied to the Siege of Vienna by the Ottoman army in 1683. To commemorate their resounding victory and the city's relief, Viennese bakers created the Kipferl in the shape of the crescent moon, a symbol on the Ottoman flag, as a celebratory gesture. So, how did the Kipferl make its way to France? The most popular theory is through Marie Antoinette, the Austrian princess who married King Louis XVI of France in 1770. She is believed to have brought tastes from her homeland, including the Kipferl, to the French court. From there, French chefs adopted and elevated the pastry, adding butter and developing the complex laminated dough technique, transforming it into the soft, flaky croissant we cherish today. Aren't you surprised by these unexpected truths about symbols you thought you knew so well? Share your thoughts. Number 7. The French consume around 25,000 tons of snails annually. Snails, or escargots in French, are perhaps the dish that gives many visitors to France the most pause. With their spiral shells and slimy bodies, snails don't typically make it onto most of the world's appealing cuisine lists. But in France, they're a cherished delicacy. The French consume up to 25,000 tons of snails each year, equivalent to about 6.5 snails per person, enjoyed by everyone from children to the elderly. Escargots are often prepared by cooking them with fragrant garlic butter, simmering them in rich chicken broth, or stewing them with white wine in true French style. Each bite offers an intriguing combination of the snail meat's tender, chewy texture and the rich flavor from garlic butter or wine. It's quite a challenging culinary experience, especially for those unfamiliar with it. But it's precisely this unique sensation that makes the dish special, and of course, comes with a rather hefty price tag. Another fascinating fact is that France is the world's largest wine exporting nation. Each year, France produces over 45 million hectoliters of wine, equivalent to nearly 6 billion bottles. From the renowned vineyards of Bordeaux, Burgundy, and the Loire to the legendary Champagne region, French wines are not only diverse in style, but are also considered the global standard of excellence. In international competitions and wine quality rankings, the name France almost always appears at the top. France doesn't just produce a lot of wine, it also exports some of the most expensive bottles on the planet. There are vintage Bordeaux wines from the 19th century that have been auctioned for hundreds of thousands of US dollars. A bottle of Romanée Conti, 1,945, of which only 600 were ever produced, once sold for nearly $560,000, setting a Guinness World Record for the most expensive bottle of wine ever auctioned. Number 8. The perfume capital of the world. Perfume has been created by humans for a very long time, but it wasn't until it touched French hands that it truly flourished and became a symbol of luxury. From the 18th century, France gained renown as the leading perfume-producing nation. However, it was only when King Louis XV ascended the throne that the passion for fragrance truly boomed among the aristocracy. Legend has it that this king had a peculiar fondness. Every day he would use a different perfume. He even transformed his palace into a true perfumed court, where every object and every courtier bore a distinct scent. This extravagant, fragrant lifestyle created a craze that not only swept through France, but also spread widely, deeply influencing neighboring countries like England and Belgium. From then on, France began to heavily invest in perfume manufacturing plants, paving the way for this industry to develop astonishingly and establish France as the world's largest perfume empire. If France is the perfume capital of the world, then the town of Grasse is undeniably its fragrant heart. With its ideal climate and rich soil, Grasse has become the cultivation ground for the rarest flowers specifically used in perfumery, from jasmine, roses, to orange blossoms and lavender. Each season, this region is enveloped in a distinct characteristic aroma. Today, even though the area dedicated to flower cultivation has somewhat decreased, Grasse's centuries-old olfactory heritage remains intact and well-preserved. This very place has contributed significantly to the resounding success of the world's most prestigious perfume brands like Chanel, Dior, and Hermès. Number 9. The country with the shortest reigning king in history. In the history of European monarchies, if there were a competition for the shortest reign of all time, France would undoubtedly claim the prize with an unimaginable record: a king who sat on the throne for a mere 20 minutes. This extraordinary monarch was Louis XIX, or more accurately, Louis Antoine, the eldest son of King Charles X. On the 2nd of August, 1830, amidst the powerful wave of popular uprisings during the July Revolution, Charles X was forced to abdicate to avoid the risk of civil war. Following the rules of succession, the throne immediately passed to Louis Antoine, making him Louis XIX, the new king of France. But instead of establishing a new dynasty, he did something that left posterity utterly bewildered. He immediately signed his own abdication papers. His total time reigning over the Kingdom of France was only about 20 minutes, just enough time to read the document and put pen to paper. The reason for his swift abdication was his unwillingness to continue as king in a chaotic country, with the entire populace revolting against the absolute monarchy. He also understood that if he clung to the throne, it could lead to a bloody civil war. Thus, he chose to withdraw peacefully. And just like that, the entire reign of Louis XIX was encapsulated in one single event: reading and signing his abdication. Although he never even had time to don his royal robes or firmly settle on the throne, he is still considered a legitimate king in French history, though. Hardly anyone had time to remember his face. Number 10. The island that disappears daily. There's a place in France where maps need updating twice a day. That's Mont Saint-Michel, a peculiar island off the coast of Normandy. Specifically, when the tide rises, the entire land bridge connecting the island to the mainland disappears under the sea, transforming Mont Saint-Michel into an isolated fortress in the ocean. But just a few hours later, as the water recedes, a natural causeway reappears, leading visitors back, as if the sea were playing a game of hide and seek. Recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the island attracts over 3 million visitors annually with its surreal beauty, spectacular medieval structures, especially the abbey built in 708 perched atop its highest point. France also possesses another equally fascinating island, Île des Faisans, Pheasant Island, nestled in the Bidassoa River, which forms the natural border between France and Spain. This island is unique because it holds the title of the world's most politically unstable island. Every 6 months, its sovereignty alternately shifts between the two nations. Specifically, from February to July, the island belongs to Spain. Then, from August to January of the following year, it takes on French nationality. This unique arrangement is no accident. It's the result of the Treaty of the Pyrenees in 1659, a historic agreement that ended a prolonged war between the two countries. Today, while you can't freely set foot on Île des Faisans, the island stands as a living symbol, a testament to the unique cooperation and peace between these two neighboring nations. Number 11. French coffee culture. In France, coffee is far more than just a drink to wake you up. In Paris, specifically, and across the entire country, coffee has become an integral part of daily life and culture, a reflection of the French pace of life, aesthetic taste, and even their philosophy. The French don't drink coffee in a hurry like Americans. They often linger for hours at cafes, slowly sipping small espressos while chatting, reading, or simply observing the world pass by. In many cafes, you'll find rows of chairs facing the street rather than facing each other. This arrangement isn't coincidental but a distinctive tradition, as the French believe that part of the joy of drinking coffee is watching life unfold around them. The history of French coffee culture dates back to the 17th century. The oldest café in Paris, Le Procope, opened in 1686. More than just a place for coffee, it became a gathering spot for French intellectuals, writers, and revolutionaries. Famous figures like Voltaire, Rousseau, and even Napoleon were regular patrons here. Legend has it that once, Napoleon, short on cash, left his hat as collateral. That very hat is still displayed in the cafe today as a unique historical artifact. Today, tens of thousands of cafes operate across France. However, what makes them special isn't their sheer number, but their philosophy of service. Whether large or small, their common goal isn't just to sell coffee, but to create a space for people to pause amidst busy lives, find a quiet corner for reflection, conversation, and to savor the moment. You might be surprised to learn that France isn't among the top countries for coffee consumption per capita. However, the French are among those who spend the most time drinking coffee. A cup of coffee in Paris isn't measured in milliliters, but in hours. Number 12. Must visit tourist destinations in France. Paris, the city of light, is always the perfect starting point for any journey through France. Beyond the Eiffel Tower and Notre Dame Cathedral, Paris also stands out with the Arc de Triomphe and the Champs-Élysées, both bearing historical imprints on every stone, every arch, and every street. A visit to the Louvre allows you to admire the legendary Mona Lisa along with thousands of other human masterpieces. As night falls, a cruise on the Seine River takes you through a dazzling Paris, its lights reflecting beautifully on the tranquil water. If you love blue seas and warm sunshine, the Nice and Côte d'Azur region will immediately captivate you. The city of Nice boasts Mediterranean sun and colorful streets. Cannes is the city synonymous with its famous film festival and luxurious beaches. Not far away lies the tiny but wealthy Monaco, noted for its magnificent Monte Carlo casino and majestic royal palace. Venturing into Provence, you'll wander through endless rolling hills of vibrant purple lavender, serene ancient villages, and colorful farmers' markets. The city of Avignon, with its papal palace, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, transports you back in time to the Middle Ages. And don't forget the Loire Valley, where over 300 castles, large and small, paint a fairy tale picture amidst the poetic countryside. This region was once the center of power for French monarchs and is now a World Cultural Heritage Site that charms countless visitors. Number 13. The culinary capital of the world. French cuisine was honored by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity in 2010. It goes beyond just exquisite cooking techniques or artful food presentation. French gastronomy has fundamentally shaped and inspired culinary traditions worldwide. Its preparation methods, table-setting arrangements, and principles for combining ingredients have become foundational in many modern cuisines. Among its treasury of renowned dishes, coq au vin stands out with its rich flavor of chicken, slow-braised with red wine, herbs, and spices. Each tender piece of meat melts in your mouth, infused with the essence of the wine. Bœuf bourguignon, beef stewed in Burgundy wine, captivates diners with the natural sweetness from tender beef and vegetables, harmonized with the alluring aroma of wine and garlic, often served with crusty bread. Furthermore, ratatouille, the Provençal vegetable stew, is not only beloved in France but also famous worldwide, thanks to the animated film of the same name. Every bite of ratatouille is a harmonious blend of fresh vegetables, Mediterranean herbs, and virgin olive oil, offering a light, delicate taste. Notably, foie gras, fattened goose liver, always present at luxurious feasts, is a symbol of opulence and sophistication in French cuisine. Have you ever tried any of these French dishes? Share your impressions in the comments below. Number 14. Fascinating festivals in France. France is a paradise of festivals, where every season of the year brings dazzling and unforgettable experiences. In February, the Nice Carnival on the Mediterranean coast makes the city of Nice burst with color. This is one of Europe's oldest carnivals, dating back to the 13th century. Giant flower parades, wind through the streets, locals and tourists dress in magnificent costumes, fresh flowers are tossed everywhere, and evening light shows transform Nice into a vibrant, living painting that leaves everyone in awe. May brings the Cannes Film Festival, turning the coastal city of Cannes into the epicenter of the global film industry. The prestigious red carpet, the appearance of A-list celebrities, and films vying for the coveted Palme d'Or create an atmosphere that is both glamorous and deeply artistic. This is a rare opportunity for visitors to witness firsthand the splendor of the international cinema industry. Come December, the Lyon Festival of Lights transforms the entire city of Lyon into a magical sea of illumination. Buildings and public squares are lit up by thousands of dazzling light art installations. Few know that this festival originated from a tradition honoring the Virgin Mary for saving the city from an epidemic, and it has now become an event attracting millions of visitors each year. And on the 21st of June, France's Fête de la Musique, Music Day, makes the entire country pulsate with rhythm. Every street, square, and cafe turns into a live music stage. This free music festival is open to everyone and features all genres, from classical music, rock, jazz, to EDM, creating a vibrant, street-filling atmosphere. Number 15. Cost of living in France. The cost of living in France is among the highest in Europe, especially if you choose to reside in major cities like Paris. Specific expenses will vary depending on your lifestyle and individual needs. If you're renting a one-bedroom apartment in central Paris, you can expect to pay around $1,400 to $1,950 per month. Opting for suburban or outer districts will bring the price down to a range of $970 to $1,400. Monthly costs for groceries and daily necessities typically fall between $270 and $430, depending on your spending habits. A full-fare public transport pass in Paris costs about $80 per month, while utilities like internet, electricity, and water usually total around $90 to $160 monthly. For entertainment, you'll spend approximately $13 to $19 for a meal at a casual restaurant, $2, $3 for a cup of coffee, $11.15 to see a movie, and $11.18 for entry to a national museum. In total, the average monthly expenditure for living in France, particularly in Paris, generally ranges from $1,600 to $2,700, depending on your desired lifestyle and comfort level. If you're planning to live or study in France, do these figures surprise you? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. And that's 15 fascinating facts about France. We hope these facts have given you a fresh perspective on this incredible country. If you found the video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming journeys. Which fact impressed you the most? Leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. The information is for reference only, so please do your own research before making any decisions.